Got something to show you here on the Bitcoin chart, folks. This is the daily chart for the people that are brand new that didn't see my last videos. We've got a bull flag on the Bitcoin daily chart. See this green channel? Lots of YouTubers probably won't be showing this. The channels that I still watch on YouTube about Bitcoin, they're nowhere near seeing this. It's a hard one to see, but it's a bull flag structure. The problem is see this bottom little green channel descending here. I have below the big one. Right? If these channels weren't drawn here, it's really hard to see. I've been watching this for a while, and these are my favorite structures when they happen. And I'm going to get down here to the hourly chart to show you detail. It's really quite fascinating. I'll try to make this short. I just need to sometimes speak to the new people, so this will make sense to everyone. But anyways, without a doubt, this is a bull flag, the flagpole, and then the descending channel is the bull flag. And why other people probably aren't seeing it is, like I said, because these channels. But I've been watching this for a while, and I just try to repeat myself like a moron. Let's try to make an unedited video, folks. Anyways, this bottom line down here, this little green one, is likely to be tested again. The support. Now, it doesn't have to be. Maybe it won't be. It's pretty low. Like next couple of weeks, this was the one would be like down to the 50,000s. This green. If it comes down to the 50,000s, this green support line on the bottom channel, right, would come down here. That's basically the support line you'd be watching, right? So at that time, this obviously would just become a big. I would get rid of the little one. I could just make it the whole big one. You see what I'm saying? Because there'd be a third daily data point down here that would hit that support line. But anyways, together, this is a $9,000 to $12,500 target on this channel to the upside, and also to the downside if it broke down. But we're in a bull market on Bitcoin. It's a bull flag. Eventually, I do expect this to break up pretty severely. And my last video, I left off. Let's go to the hourly. This is quite fascinating when we go down in here, and you will see why I like to find these channels, because, and I'm not saying this analysis is better. There's people on YouTube making a ton more money than me, and they won't have any idea about what's going on here, right? And I just want to say that, right? I'm not saying this is better than anyone, but I just saying a lot of people won't see this. So the other day, I drew in this red bearish ascending channel with a $3,000 target to the downside. It doesn't have to go down, but that's the target. It doesn't have to hit the target. That's just for reference frame of mind. Okay, so I left off last time. See this yellow triangle? My last video, I left off. I took profit on a long right when it broke out, and I took profit too early, but oh well. And that's my last video. So this is quite interesting, and you're gonna like this, right? So I drew in this red channel, and then look where the next resistance hit was. The very top of that green ascending channel, right? The green line. This is the top of that parallel channel going down, and the support line for the red ascending channel, smack dab at that intersection. Sometimes when this stuff happens, it just happens over and over and over. Once I establish these good parallel, I love these parallel channels, but to me, they're fascinating, right? Like this yellow triangle, it broke out. I took profit too quick. Lots of times these yellow the triangles, they'll break out and just kind of flounder away. This one actually was kind of a delayed break, and there's probably a lot of people saying this whole breakout right here was a result of that triangle, and technically I suppose it could if you only saw the triangle, but look at all this other stuff, right? And so this breakout here is actually a breakout with a $3,000 target from 70,000, right? There's a $3,000 target on that channel, and it went to 72.8, right? So it missed the target by $200. It basically hit the target to the upside, right? So it hit its target and came back down, right? So that's not a breakout of the triangle. It's a breakout of that red ascending channel. It's a breakout of both of them, right? Really. And it's also a breakout of the green. So I entered along here. I'm going to show you my trade here I'm in. I entered along way up here, and it looks like a mistake. Let me go real quick. I'll show you my trades. I'm in a short and a long. It's dawned on me why people have always called Wall Street traders, legalized crime. It's because the price goes up or the price goes down is irrelevant to them. They make money regardless because of the experience they have. They always hedge. They always protect their positions by doing other things. Now me, I'm a little fry, just still still at the bottom stages of learning, and I don't have time to sit here and get real intricate. And I'll dig back into these patterns here and talk to you about how I could be real intricate if I had time. But obviously, I don't have time. Therefore, trying to be intricate, I would make stupid mistakes between me. So I'm avoiding that. And I'm in a short and a long, right? And they're protecting each other. So in a nutshell, right, the fees right now, funding fee on Femex is 0.031 hundredths of a percent every 8 hours. That's big for Femex. That's about more than triple normal. So on this long, I pay Femex that much money every 8 hours. See the realized profit -10, right? But they're paying me that same funding rate to keep the short open, and the short's bigger than the long. See, almost $15 profit. And in an hour and 35 minutes up here, this funding rate will be taken away from my long, and the funding rate will be added to my short, right? So I'm not paying, I'm getting paid, right? I have a long and a short open, and I'm still getting paid money by the site to be in this position. And I'm just comfortable being in this. Both these trades look terrible, don't they? Right? And if they were just one by itself, it would be terrible, right? But I'm comfortable doing this, and I'm not trying to tell anyone to do it like this, because you need to fully understand, have a firm grasp of what can, the worst case scenarios. So I didn't want to talk a whole lot about that trade. I like to show my trades because I believe I'm making videos, so you need to see who you're listening to. And over 3 years, to be honest, I've made bad mistakes and I've done great things, and I'm basically even. But I've been getting an education, right? And this time around, I've learned to protect. And I just want to dig in real quick. This is fascinating stuff. So, right, we had this fake from this green bull flag going down, the big parallel descending green. I have it in green because it's technically it's a bullish structure. I have the red ascending one in red because technically it's a bearish structure. Fake break out the green one, but it's not a fake break because it hit the red one's target, right? So that's probably the truth. But wait a second, right? The yellow triangle, that's also basically pretty close to the yellow triangle target. So, right, what's really going on, right? There's a lot going on here, right? It's very, very interesting. Anyways, fake break, and in my experience watching this, when this going back to the green, big green one is the one that'll end up probably being the structure that is the next massive pump for Bitcoin whenever that does occur. And lots of times in my experience, these big descending green ones going down, the descending channels, they will have these fake psych out breaks, right? And it'll come back down. And lots of times it doesn't just stop. Lots of times it'll be a big one. Sometimes it goes crashing all the way back down through the bottom of the channel. Now we're in a bull market, and there's lots of positive bullish sentiment. So I don't expect a giant crash like that. And most of those happened last cycle when there was $10 billion of long, irresponsibly long liquidations, right? And I don't expect that to happen. Although there's a chance, right? This Bitcoin halving is now 10 days away. It's been moved up a day, April 19th. And there is a chance that there could be a long liquidation. There could be, right? This could be a fakey fake. It could be a sell-off halving. I don't think it'd be severe, and it would be short-lived because there's too much buying pressure everywhere, right? And interesting enough, so if $3,000, this red channel didn't just show up here by accident, right? It fits in with what I've seen with these fake breaks out the big descending green channel, and it'll come back crashing back down into it. And I don't think this dumps over. I think there will be another leg down. I could be wrong, and it might take a while, but okay. So this green support line on this big parallel channel going down is very much resistance. I said support, resistance line. So see how it came down? It bounced off the red support, which is also, folks, mind you, the yellow support line. I just have it drawn just a little lower than the red, just so you can see it visually. It's also that old triangle support. See how it's working? Look at that. So that's why I like to leave these things here. So I don't mean to talk about, I'm not saying bad things about other channels on YouTube, but I'm sure other YouTubers talked about this triangle here. right? And now they're probably not talking about it at all. It's not on their charts. I've learned that these patterns will stay in play for a long time, right? So the bottom of that triangle support is the exact line of the red parallel channel support. It bounced off of there. Boom. Now it's on its way back up. Watch this green parallel channel resistance. Watch that to be strong resistance. It also correlates, right? There could be a spike out the top of the green. See this dotted line right here in the red channel in the middle of the red? That's also going to come in play. That'll be a resistance. See how a support here. There's actually two dotted lines. I've actually got two red channels here, right? See the bottom support is the wicks. That's no coincidence. This wick down to the bottom support. See that? And the second little red channel inside the big red channel, that's on the bottom. That's on wicks, and that's just a little high. There's a support line there, right? See the wicks there. That's also a candy body. Lots of times it'll be the candle bodies, right? In the bottom will be this wicks. So there's 4 wicks down the support. See, and actually, if I extend this little channel up here, we'll probably find that. See, look, boom, look at that. There's a couple candles there, right? Just right at the bottom of them. See that? And isn't that interesting? So actually, I wanted to go ahead and move that up there. So let's move that up there. Let's go ahead and extend it. I should have had that like that to begin with for the video. A little down, about right there in the ballpark. All right, it's no coincidence. There's an hourly candle. There's this little one here. Exact support, closed right on it. And then there's a wick down to it already. See how it works? So both those are supports. Anyways, both these dotted lines will come into play. You can see the top dotted line here is support for about 8, 10, 12 hours, whatever that is, 10 hours. See that? The bottom support, literally the dotted line here, resistance, 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 while this bottom dotted line was support, 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 right? See all the interaction with those dotted lines? It is there. So that could be a possible resistance. And in the next 6, 8 hours, it's no coincidence. It correlates with the top of that green channel. So I expect that to be strong resistance for many reasons. You could be looking at a wick out the top of the green, and that wick would likely stop at the dotted lines. Now there could be another breakout right away out the top. Anything can happen. I just want to bring this to your attention, right? Sometimes I wish I had lots of time to just sit here and just look at this all day long and just do this, because I could dive in and get real intricate and real detailed, but I don't have time to do that at this point. You know, if I wouldn't have got washed out by that dump last cycle, I would have that kind of money to be able to sit here and start to do that, but I don't, so I can't. So I'm not going to try, because it'll lead to mistakes. So I'm basically just playing like this, right? Like this. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but I do like to talk what I'm doing just for reference. Anyways, what the main thing is, one thing I want to convey to people out there listening to me, and hopefully, you know, lots of time, my other YouTube channel, right, I have is people watched my YouTube channel and did what I did over there, scavenging and stuff, dumpster diving and stuff. And other people copied my channel and are extremely successful. So I have an idea that by showing my long and my short and showing you all the stuff I just showed you, I have an idea that there's people that will watch me and be far more successful than me, right? So that's a cool thing, and that's one reason why I'm talking about what I'm talking about right now. Okay, so in a nutshell, this yellow line on top is the liquidation price of my short. This is very worst case scenario. So I entered a long here because I didn't know for sure. It looked like it might rip, and just in case it was the big push up to 80,000, I didn't care. I needed to be in a long to counteract that short. You see what I'm saying? So if it did pump way up, worst case scenario, I'd take a really nice profit on a long. I'd have plenty of dry powder left. I always leg in, and I never ape in. I always like to have some source. It's very important to have some source of plenty of dry powder for the way I'm doing this, right? Aping into a trade is a huge mistake. And this is the way I'm doing it, right? If I had the time to sit here and be real intricate, then maybe I would use, you know, a lot more money, because I'd be sitting here, but I'm not sitting here watching it all the time. So anyways, I should have a, let's go ahead. Let me just to show. And I'm not telling anyone to do this, but it is going to be eye-opening, hopefully. And the one thing I want to convey is for you out there, every individual, just learn how to do this yourself, right? That's the ultimate analysis that I can tell you. Just learn to do this yourself, and you probably won't like to do it exactly how I'm doing it, right? There's tons of different ways. Something you might just feel comfortable and figure something else out for yourself that works really well. So, uh, anyways, just take time and figure this stuff out. It'll take time if you're brand new. It will take a lot of time to absorb. It's way too much to absorb right away. But it'll be like climbing a ladder. You'll be like, oh, that's what this. Oh, that. Oh, yeah, right. So, and eventually it will come to you. And so let's go ahead. Let's have the take profit. See, my liquidation price on my short is 76,978. I should have had this in place. I don't think it's too important right now, but for video purposes, I should have this in place. Actually, 76,777, for instance, in that ballpark, just to be safe, right? Just so we have this would close. That'd be a $652 profit, right? So, worst case scenario, what happens is I have dry powder to play with, plenty of dry powder to play with. Absolute worst thing that could happen to me in this trade is that Bitcoin takes that giant push out of this bull flag descending channel and goes up to 80,000, right? That's the worst thing that could possibly happen to me in this trade. And if that happens, right, I'd take profit. I could take profit on that long if I wanted to right here to protect the short. It'll be different down the road. I'm just giving you an example right now. If it went right now, right, I could take profit on the way up on the long. I could take all that money I have in the long position or the short position. The long position, and I could continue to protect the short. Right, my short liquidation is 77,000. I could just keep moving because I have dry powder, because I only leg in little increments. I could make huge mistakes, and it doesn't matter, right? So I could continue to leg into that short. Worst possible thing that can happen to me right now is this scenario, and this is why I'm talking about it. I could just continue. I could give up right now and take the loss. I could do that, but this is just the way I like to do it, and it works well for me. I could continue to put that short position in increments on the way up, so my entry price in a short just goes way up, right? It goes way up the same way the liquidation price goes up. And I can end up moving my liquidation price way up to, if I want, 90,000, 100,000, because I know this market. When Bitcoin goes from 70,000 to 90,000 or 70,000 to 100,000, there will be a massive correction at some point. And at that point, because I'm taking time and only legging in, my entry price on my short would be so high. My entry price would end up being like $80,000 or whatever, right? And that correction comes back down. I get out of the short, right? And I make a profit. That's the worst possible thing that can happen to me right now. Worst possible thing, right? So let's go look. What if there's a crash and my long got liquidated instantly? I have this set, right, for that. Watch this. This line here, 67,000. Wait, where's it at? No, it's not on there. This line here at the bottom, the yellow one, 61,059 is liquidation on the long. See the blue number, 61,111. That's my take profit on my short. See that? So I could be dead asleep and not even paying attention. So down here at the bottom, I have it set. The short position. Let me show it to you. 61,111. Take profit on a short for $1,131 would be my profit on that short. Now this is automatic. I already have it set. I could be sleeping. I would make $1,131 on the short. And look at this. That would, worst case scenario to the bottom is I would get liquidated on the long and lose $1,119. See that? That's how much money I have. But shortly before that got liquidated, my short profit would activate right before that, right? I would make $1,131. So a massive long position of mine on 7x leverage would be liquidated, and that would show up in the data Everyone's data. So, oh, look at this short. Look at this short, Scott. Look at this long. This is a long squeeze, right? Well, lots of those long squeezes you see out there, to a professional or someone's experienced, they'll also have the opposite position open. So don't forget about that. That's lots of people, analysts probably won't even talk about that. They might not even understand. Really, it's like learning how to dribble with your offhand in basketball, right? When that happens, when it occurs to you, and you start getting coordinated with your offhand in basketball, you become a very dangerous player on the basketball court because it opens up 50% of your ability. That's just an analogy. So I would make 20, 1,030. I would make 20. Wait, 20. I would make $12, right? If my massive, not massive, but if my 7x long got liquidated, oh, what a terrible thing. No, it's not, because I just made $12. Not to mention, I'm getting paid a little bit of money for the short every 8 hours, so technically I'm up 15. I would make $27. My long got liquidated on a crash. Well, I made $27. You understand what I'm saying? I just want to bring that to your attention, and I'm certainly not a professional at this point, but I do feel as though that day is coming, and I just want to talk about this because it's interesting. And so I went through basically the whole last Bitcoin cycle, just longing, right? I was just a total noob. All I did was long. All I knew was long, just long. Everything I did, long position, right? And I ended up getting out of all my. I was just getting stuck in longs, you know, getting stuck every time Bitcoin corrected last cycle, and those corrections were pretty big on the way up, and so right, and I ended up getting out of all those and making a lot of money, and then there was a big crash, and it just barely liquidated my position, and I didn't understand to open a short. All I had to do was open a short position in the opposite direction, and I would have been fine because it would have protected my long, right? If my, you understand what I'm saying? So you can see, right? You can see the absolute worst possible thing is that this could just rip up to the top right now, and if that happened, I have a choice. I could take a small loss on my short right now, but why? Why would I do that? Right? Particularly when there's this red bearish parallel channel. It's likely going to break down a little bit. I expect see this this yellow triangle is still relevant. So I've noticed that lots of YouTubers will talk about this, like this triangle, and it'll break out and they'll never talk about it again. Well, see this? Look at this. The support line for this yellow triangle is also the support line for that red channel. Technically, it just bounced off the support line for that yellow triangle. I just have it in a little different spot so you can visually see the yellow and the red with your eye. And so it's no coincidence, folks, that there's a $3,000 target on this red channel going up. That would be basically in the next day or two, if that were to happen. I'm not saying it is, but look, that's no coincidence. It's at the intersection of that yellow resistance line on the triangle. This would now serve as support, right? That would look something. Just say it did that $3,000 move now, boom, right? That's no coincidence that's where that would happen. That's no coincidence. That's $3,000, right? 69 to 66 ballpark, right? This happens over and over and over with all these different patterns. They all correlate somehow. I don't know how it's possible that this like this, right? But also, right, this also, this yellow support line is extremely relevant in that event. And it's no coincidence that this dotted line and this big green descending channel also is in the vicinity of the target of the red channel breakdown. So watch for the blue dotted line to be a support. So in my opinion, this area right here would be extremely good support area. That would be 65,300, 65,600 ballpark, that area, depending on when it happened. Now, that would just be if it happened, in here in the near future. Maybe it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that's there. That is there. The same way the intersection right here was with the red and the green channel resistance. That bounced literally right at that intersection. And I just think that's fascinating when that stuff starts happening. And so you just basically, I just want to open some eyes. And if you learn this stuff, obviously it can become quite fascinating. And I do like talking about this because I've never heard any YouTuber talk about the things I'm talking about right now. Now, I obviously I learned this from them, but not from one of them, right? I learned from all of them that I watched, and I haven't seen any of them do what I'm doing. And so for that reason, I do hope that I'm offering value. And at this point, I'll make like 60 cents off this video because I don't have very many viewers. But I do think this is valuable, and at least I do believe this is valuable content that I'm making. Obviously, we've bounced off this red channel support. There's two red channels, of course, but you can see what's happening. The bottom one is support where the yellow triangle was. There's also a secondary channel in here, and it's already been support once and resistance support twice on the hourly. So that's good support. The bottom, both these red lines are support. What to watch for right now? Next 24 hours or so, less than 24 hours, is this green resistance in combination with the two dotted lines in the middle of the two red channels. This zone here, I had to turn this. My computer died, and I had to restart this video, and I was already done saying this once, so I may be repeating stuff because it's so irritating. I was at the end of a like 26-minute video, and my battery died on my laptop, and nothing was saved, so I've had to come back and repeat this. So if I repeat stuff, I don't want to do a lot of editing. I do apologize. That area there, folks, is just really strong. You're going to be really strong interest resistance, in my opinion. It's in combination with the top of that green descending channel, and it does like to wick out the top, and that would be these dotted lines would likely be a spot where a wick might bounce directly off of one of those dotted lines. Something interesting to watch. I don't know if it will. Maybe the green resistance is enough to stop it. It should be that ballpark, right? So if I had to guess, and if I had to just totally guess right now for some reason what's going to happen right now, I would guess that this bounce will fail in this vicinity somewhere here. It just about, well, it's also 70,000. I didn't even realize that. It's also a resistance, psychological resistance, smack dab. Look at that, smack dab, $70,000. So this will be strong resistance. I do expect this will fail in one way or the other somewhere around 70,000. You would want to watch support at the bottom of both of these red channel lines, and I would not be surprised if there was a breakdown to this ballpark of 65 to 66,000 here in the near future. Now that doesn't have to happen, but in my experience, lots of times a common action, particularly when there's been hype, right? And this no matter what, this is a hyped event, and there could be a sell-off, right? And it's 9 days away. It just should be a natural thing. And sometimes I don't want to say buy the news, sell the rumor, because the halving is a great thing, but there could be a little sell-off. No, it wouldn't be nothing big, But it is interesting how this is setting up. It does look like there's a strong resistance at 70,000, and right, and it's kind of timing up with around this ballpark. And the masses that are brand new to this, they don't have any idea what's going on. So Bitcoin halving event that's happening now, I heard about that. I'm putting in $10,000, right? And that could, right, there's sharks and whales out there that are waiting for that, and it could, massive $10 million short just came in and ate your long to death, right? You irresponsible longers. What did you long the top for? Just long. You didn't even protect yourself, and you just lost all your money. That's going to happen. That's what happens. And so constantly protect yourself. Find a way to protect everything you do. And anyways, it's setting up pretty good. I do like a dump. And in my opinion, if I had to guess, if you put a gun to my head and said you have to guess, or your life depends on it, I would say a little more pumpy. Ballpark area 70,000 for several reasons, in my opinion. Resistance and dumpy doodah, because many times a characteristic of these giant macro descending parallel channels, which are very bullish, eventually bearish while they happen, they will fakey fake. And this is very, very common that I've seen. fakey fake, here it comes, here's the breakout. No, it's not. Boom. And they tend to be strong, right? So I would suspect the dotted line here in this channel to be a resistance to watch. April 13th. On April 14th, it would be 64,800, right? And April 12th, it would be about 65,300. That you see how it's working? I'm talking too much. You got what I'm talking about. I do hope that someone out there finds this very, very fascinating, because it is. I could just sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours. You know, purple vertical line is let's move that up. April 19th now. There it is. That's the halving event. If I had to guess, there will be a small sell-off just because of that. But it won't even be noticeable. It won't be any different than just common action. So it's not even worth talking about. But it could get tricky around that time, because whenever the public's attention focuses to Bitcoin, then it can get rather interesting, because the public always loses. Some of them will get lucky, but this is just common. It just happens over and over and over. Psychological effect. It's just how we're built. The public will get their ass handed to them again this cycle, no matter what. Not all of them, but they'll make mistakes, because that's what happens. And although the corrections on Bitcoin are getting smaller and smaller, the Bitcoin waters are. There's not white caps anymore for a long time. Right? It's just wavy and windy. There's no big surfy, frothy white wash. It's not right. I see lots of YouTubers talking. They talk about post traumatic syndrome now, right? And that's it's a good way to put it, because I went through the last cycle as a noob. I was the public last cycle, right? I was the public before I started figuring it out, and I was just longing on small leverage, under 2x leverage. I was longing, and I spent all last cycle basically underwater, and then for like a day or two, I'd take a really nice profit and get out, and I just start longing. But luckily, I was longing, and I was doing it in small increments, so it made it not too bad. But I only understood how to long, and that's basically what the public does, and that's why they lose, because they just long, long position. Right? What should I do today? I just long, not long, not long. So that's bad. If you only long, that means you're the public. And I know sometimes people have a moral opposition to shorting, but this is a game and a circus, and that's how I view it. And to be honest with you, I don't really think crypto is going to do anything for the world. It's all about making money, right? They want to say it's this and that. And it's just money. It's no different. Bitcoin by itself would eventually, if it was allowed to gobble up the world's economy, Bitcoin would just produce super rich elite people. And 99% of the world's population would basically be peasants. So keep that in mind. That's literal what would happen. So keep in mind when you listen to people talk about how awesome Bitcoin is and how terrible the US dollar is because this and that. Bitcoin's real money. Fiat currency is terrible. Well, nah. If Bitcoin was allowed to go up to $10 million, $1 billion, if Bitcoin ate up the real estate and the gold, and if all that money went into Bitcoin, like it looks like it might be happening, that's why I want you to have money on the spot market in Bitcoin, because that might happen, right? I'm talking about you having a chance of becoming a 1% elite financial person on the planet, right? That's interesting. That's why I like it for people like me. If you're listening to my video, that's why I like it, right? Because you're not a multimillionaire listening this whole time to this what I'm saying, and there's very people listening to me right now. But that could happen, right? $1,000 in Bitcoin right now can make you extremely rich. That could be ridiculous rich, and it sounds stupid, but that could still happen. But the point is that could happen. That's the result. That's what all these people in crypto are talking about happening, and it might happen, and that would be awful for the people that don't get in, right? It's great for you, me, if we get in now, right? But it's absolutely awful, and that's the kind of person I am, right? Bitcoin's an awful thing in the end for the masses. It literally will lead to a very small percent of extremely wealthy people, and everyone else in the world would be begging for your satoshis, right? Can I please make some satoshis for me? I'm at work my whole life for you, and you give me satoshis, right? That's what would happen, right? And Wall Street's probably going to be the ones that have all the Bitcoin. So just buy some Bitcoin, and hold on to it, just a little bit, just do that. That's a good idea. All right, there. Have a good day.